Nick here with Nick's Movie Picks, and welcome to episode 2 of the podcast, where we're going to be discussing Deadpool. Now, before we get into that, I'd like to introduce my co-host, Mike Lord. How you doing?
What up?
Yeah, man. I'm really interested to hear what you think about this movie. So let's get into it. Deadpool, directed by Tim Miller, came out about February, the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of people didn't know about this character as much. Now it blew up because of the movie, of course. Like everyone, knows Deadpool now. But before,
Right.
a lot of people didn't really know about Deadpool. They seen the guy in the red mask. They thought it was like a version of Spider-Man. I've heard a lot of people say that before.
Yeah, and maybe it's the way that they went ahead and perceived him, and a lot of the comic book cartoons that are out nowadays that people maybe didn't take him that serious. But after this movie, a lot of eyes were opened up, and I'm really excited to see what they got in store for part 2.
Yeah. Well, the creator of this, Rob Liefeld, I know he was involved in this movie in the process. I'm sure Ryan Reynolds was definitely involved in making this movie. I think it was like a project that about 8-10 years in the making. These people really wanted to make this movie.
Was it really that long?
It was really that long. You'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's 8 to 10 years that they've been wanting to make this movie desperately. And we had that iteration of Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool and X-Men Wolverines. That's more your kind of movie.
Well, I didn't know a whole lot about Deadpool when he first came out. So when they portrayed him in the movie, I was like, look at this badass guy. He's fighting Wolverine. He's got stuff coming out of his hands. But as I went back and did some research, went into the comic books, got a little bit of knowledge from you and a couple of the buddies, I realized, this might not be the best portrayal of him. So, I definitely think they did him justice. And like I said, I'm excited to see what 20th Century Fox has ahead.
Well, that movie you're talking about, the X-Men Wolverine, whatever it is, I don't even consider it a real movie anymore. There are glimpses of him as Deadpool, as Wade Wilson that are awesome, but then when they did that whole mutation thing at the end, sealing his mouth, laser eyes, swords coming out of his arms, it just killed it. Killed the character completely. But anyways, it's completely gone now.
Well, okay. Well, how did you like the fight scene? You gotta admit the fight scene was all right. When Saber came in.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, those scenes are no. You're talking about when he's already mutated.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. That's another podcast.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole another discussion. All right. Well, like I said, Rob Liefeld, he created the character Deadpool, and he first appeared in '91 in a New Mutants comic, '98. Now, me personally, I haven't read the comic yet, but I am planning on picking it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely go support comic shops and stuff like that. Read the material, man. There's so much good stuff out there. Right now, I'm on the New 52, the DC. A lot of people are recommending it, so that's kind of what I'm reading right now. But as for Deadpool, this thing was a success in the box office. This movie made what? I can't even remember the numbers, like 800 million. We'd have to check into that. We'd have to check into that.
Wow.
But I know the budget was around 58 million. So it made its money, and then some, just over and rewatchability in the theater. I've seen it three or four times I think in the theater. How about you?
Yeah. I actually only saw it once in the theater, and then I went ahead and seen it on DVD a couple times. But to only have a $58 million budget and to make those kind of numbers on it, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it now. It's $754 million as of now. And, that's a huge success. This movie has made more money than any X-Men movie previously in the whole franchise. It has dominated the box office.
Not only that, Nick, but I also think that I went ahead and read that they went ahead and reshuffled the Gambit movie and a couple other things that they were filming just because the success of part 1 of this movie, that they went ahead and had to go ahead and get part 2 going, which I do believe they begin filming the beginning of next year or something like that.
Yeah. But the Gambit movie, that's exactly correct. They literally, as of right now, that empty space for that movie is a Deadpool 2 movie. And because of the Gambit movie, they were going to make that movie for $150 million. And why would you even pay that kind of money to, Gambit? The guy's from New Orleans or Louisiana. He's got those powered up charge cards and stuff. If you can make the movie like what Deadpool did, it could be successful. But $150 million, they got scared. They pulled the plug. Deadpool was a success. And they're just going to move forward with that and X-Force, and I believe the X-Force.
Yeah, and I mean, any fan out there that would tell you that they were not excited to hear the announcement of Deadpool 2, I mean, in my opinion, was just straight up lying to you. I mean, Gambit, I like him. He does have a good storyline behind him. He's got some cool powers and whatnot, but, you know, Channing Tatum, he doesn't do it for me. And, you know, the first time they went ahead and casted, what was his name? John Carter? What was his name from the movie? I mean, I don't know, man. I just, you know, so in any event, I wasn't
John
mad.
Carter.
I wasn't mad that they went ahead and pushed it back. And, you know, with the...
I don't think we'll ever see it.
Well, actually, no. I actually read that they're going to start filming it.
Yeah,
I don't know
I don't
how
think it's really going to happen.
I don't know how, you know, legit the source was, but well, let me give you my 2 cents on Francis. Actually, I really didn't know anything about him. I don't have 2 cents to give you for him. I had to go ahead and look him up, and what I found out, I guess Mr. Francis, his name is Ed Shrine, and he actually played in the new Transporter movie.
Yeah, I seen that movie.
Yeah. See, I missed it, and then, you know, and I'm a big Game of Thrones guy. Apparently, he was in. Well, apparently he was in Game of Thrones too in a 2011 episode. But you want to know what's most interesting about this? About what I dug up about him?
What's that?
He is an Australian Jew, and he is a self-confessed comic geek, which is awesome. So that kind of cancels out the other two. It's like, okay, you're an Australian Jew, but you like comic books. You're good to go, bro.
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, I didn't have a whole lot to say about him. However, his character... You know, I thought it was, you know, a convincible character. I don't know a whole lot about the comic book character himself. However, I did think that he portrayed a villain pretty well. I mean, he was, you know, cynical at times. You know, at other times, you know, he seemed like he was caring, but then just twisted it on him real quick. And, you know, I think it's pretty evident in some of the films. I'm sorry, it's some of the scenes that we've seen.
Yeah, no, I like Francis. He wasn't a bad character. Like the way that he just Wade Wilson would just get so annoyed at him, and I mean it just became it was a good funny joke line and through the movie, you know, Francis, you know,
Francis,
like he just wants to kill him. All right, so Francis, we'll touch on him a little bit later,
okay.
But let's talk about some characters in this movie, like his friend, played by T.J. Miller.
T.J. Miller,
Weasel.
I love that guy.
This guy, man. I mean, if you haven't seen Silicon Valley, man, you got to check him out on that. And of course, you've seen him in other movie roles in Transformers 4.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's what I know him. I know him for his more notable roles, Transformer, and believe it or not, Cloverfield. And that's so funny. That's the first time I actually saw him on the big screen was
he
Cloverfield.
on Cloverfield?
He was. I actually had to go look that up on IBM, and then I remembered he was there in Cloverfield.
Wow, I completely forgot about that. All right. But yeah, his character in there, I mean, he had those lines with them when they're sitting down on the bench, and he's going over how his face looks, and, you know, oh, you're going to die alone. I mean, the banter between the two characters, I mean, it was just great. He played Weasel great.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. What about Colossus? I mean, it's kind of really hard to touch on this subject because apparently he was played by 3 different characters. Do I have that correctly?
Yeah, I believe there was an actor that I guess they CGI'd his body, and then there's an actor with the face that they got for the face, and then they have another actor that did his voice. I can't remember the voice actor's name.
I think I actually have that. The voice actor was Stefan Kapikic.
Kapikic, okay.
And he was actually at SuperCon about this past weekend when we were down there. We actually went to the booth and got to meet him.
Yeah. That's the guy. Okay, yeah, I remember him now. Yeah, where's he from? He's got that voice. What is that? That's Russian, or is that like?
I don't have the origin of where he's from, but I did hear his father was a famous basketball player. So, but don't quote me on that though. I'm not 100% sure.
Probably. I mean. Yeah. Who knows? All right. Anyways, so I mean, when you really think about this movie, I mean, they even make the funny joke about it that it's really a love story, and when you really break it down, I mean, it really is a love story. It just happens to have some gory action scenes and outlandish comedy, raunchy humor, but the relationship between him and Vanessa, I mean, those sex scenes when they hook up. And then they do the year-round holiday sex scenes.
Definitely pushing the envelope.
Pushing the envelope completely. I mean, Happy Women's Day. Was it like National Women's Day or something? And she's behind him. I mean, I was dying in the theater. It was one of the greatest scenes in a comic book movie ever. It was so funny.
And the movie, just as a whole in itself, just took comic book movies to a whole nother level, in my opinion. I mean, you look at movies like Guardians of the Galaxy that had that humor to it. I mean, even that elevated the Marvel movies in my book.
Yeah, I consider that one of the best movies that year.
Absolutely. But then when you add in that raunchy humor and the gore and everything that us old school comic geeks love, I mean, come on, it's a winning recipe. And I hope we see more of it. And I hope that in Wolverine 3 that it carries over. Maybe not so much the humor, but the action, the gore. I mean, I'm really excited to see what 20th Century Fox has in store.
Well, like you were saying with the raunchy stuff, I mean, this Deadpool character, you can't do that with any other character. I mean, you have to go R-rated with this character. That's the only way you can do Deadpool properly and take what he does in the comic books and just bring it to the big screen. They did an incredible job.
No, I agree with you 100%. And the funny thing is his personality, you know, that really dry kind of humor. I mean, that even goes back to his acting days back for the movie Van Wilder. I mean, think about that. 10 years ago, we're watching that movie. He's just evolved the character now to where it's at the point where it's just like, he's just turned into the comic book character, and it's awesome. He did a great job. I don't know if anybody's nailed a character the way that he has, aside from maybe Wolverine, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no. He's definitely he is one of those characters now and one of those actors that, you know, he can play Deadpool for the rest of his life or until he doesn't want to do it anymore. I mean, flat out. But what really I want to talk about are some, I mean, I don't really want to get into some spoilers, but I just want to talk about a couple scenes that really blow my mind. I mean, there's scenes with him and his companion, I guess, the little old lady that he lives with, the blind lady Al. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my. I mean, some of the stuff some of the stuff in that movie with the little baby hand and rubbing it on her face, and you know, he's got the lotion next to it and stuff like that, and telling her to leave the room. I mean, just outlandish.
It was great. It was 110% great. And you know what? It's just pushing that envelope, you know? It's taking it one step further than Guardians, one step further than Ant-Man. I'm just trying to figure out right now what negatives I have about the movie. And I really don't have any. I mean, and, you know, we haven't even touched on some of the other characters yet. Let's talk about Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Teenage Warhead.
I mean, what do you know about her? I know nothing of her except for we met her at Comic-Con. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She was supposed to be at Comic-Con. And because I knew nothing about her, I went ahead on Google once I got the email again. And, I did a little bit of research. I found out that her name is Brianna Hildenbrand. And she was also in another movie called First Girl I Love. And I think she was also nominated for some sort of award. I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that. However, I liked her character. I thought it was pretty cool. You know, her interactions back and forth with Deadpool. I mean, what do you think?
No. I liked her character too. The interaction, like, you know, she's just a young girl and she's acting like a teenager. That's what she is. Yeah. And what she does, you know, like the few action scenes she does have, and I'm gonna put this on the visual and the actual music that's involved with it too, because in that scene where she like charges up and launches him on that plate to go after Francis, I mean, awesome. That's a cool scene, but I think the music really like brings it up. I love the soundtrack on this movie.
I agree again. It's, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, to kind of be objective when it comes to this movie. I mean, again, I'm sitting here trying to find the negatives and there's just nothing.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any negatives either. I mean,
okay, well, here we go. But I don't want to pass up this subject. What did you think about Ajax? Gina Carano, a.k.a. the Carano, I'm sorry. The ex-UFC fighter, formerly retired by Cyborg.
You know, she did all right. I mean, she's got presence on the screen. I mean, and she can do action. She can fight. She looks badass. Yeah. What's that scene that she's gonna do the superhero landing. She's gonna do the superhero landing. It looked badass. She did the superhero landing.
I think I actually enjoyed more her walking up to Colossus and knocking him back like 30 feet. But you know, still, I see where you're going.
But as for her acting, I mean, you know, like obviously she doesn't really say much in the movie. So I mean, you know, dialogue not there, but visually, all right, she did great. Now, you know, I think she was one of those Fast and the Furious movies, and it was all action and maybe like one or two lines here or there. You know, she's just there for action and to look good.
Yeah. I think you touched on that a little bit earlier when we were talking about it. Now, what is your favorite action scene, favorite fight sequence throughout the whole entire movie?
Oh man, I'd probably have to say the end scene when Deadpool is fighting Francis, and
Really?
yeah, I like that scene. I like that scene a lot. I mean, it just balls to the wall, and then he ends up. I guess what it is like when he ends up stabbing him in the head, and he just goes like full limp, and Vanessa's there, and then there's that scene where she's like on the ground and she's like in slow motion, asshole, and you see the little animal characters with the music again
Oh
with the
man, that was
music,
a
bro.
trip. Right,
The music,
right.
I mean, ties it all in, and I
Wham!
love those. I love those scenes. I think that was the Peter Cetera that you're my inspiration, the
Hey,
cult classic.
and you know what? I love that scene. That was definitely an epic scene. However, whenever I talk about the movie, the first thing that I think about is the scene where he decides to attack Colossus once Francis escapes, breaking both hands, both feet. He gets up, talking about everybody fearing the T-Rex and the one-legged man in the ass-kicking competition. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
Not to
Yeah.
mention, in the sequence right before that, he takes a bullet right up Main Street. I mean, that's just funny. I mean, I don't care who you are. If you can't relate to that, then, I mean, just turn our podcast off now.
Yeah, but that's what that movie is, man. They don't take themselves serious. I mean, they're having fun. They made this movie how it was supposed to be made.
Right.
They did Deadpool justice. They made a ton of money, which now in return we're gonna get a part two. Pay Ryan Reynolds more money. From my understanding, he didn't get paid like really nothing for this movie.
Really?
To just get just to get it made, $2 million or something like that.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, I
So,
can't see anybody
I know
else playing the
they're
part.
paying him. They're paying him this time. Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely, definitely.
So as of right now, I mean, Deadpool 2, I don't, nothing really happening. I know at the end of the movie, they had that little homage at the end,
Well-
a spoiler kind of thing, like an Easter egg.
Well-
Let's say with like the Ferris Bueller kind of thing, the scene where Ferris comes out of the bathroom.
Right.
Oh, you're still here? And he announces that we're gonna see Cable. We're gonna see Cable. Is there any actors out there that you think could play Cable?
You know, I've gone over this a few times, and I've given it some thought, and I can't put my finger. I know there's a couple out there that have been lobbying to play the role.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing, maybe maybe Hellboy. What's his name?
Ronald Perlman.
that his
Ron
name?
Perlman. Ron Perlman. Okay. No, he can definitely do
I
that.
could see that.
I can't remember the actor's name from Avatar, but he was the general with the scar on
Oh,
his face. A lot
yeah,
of people
that'd
were
be
lobbying
cool.
for him.
That'd be cool.
And then I don't know. Recently, I've been seeing John Cena's name pop up.
Oh man.
And let me tell you, listen, I was
Never go
like
wrong.
that too. I don't know if that's a positive or negative for you, but after seeing what's that Amy Schumer
Trainwreck,
movie?
I think that's the name of
Trainwreck.
it.
He had a few scenes
Oh,
in
yeah.
there. Oh man, I mean, he
But
had
for
me going
Cable?
comedy. It came, well, they'd make him look badass.
Right.
And,
Well, I mean,
but he's got comedy chops. But I understand it's John Cena and he's a WWE wrestler and all that. But look what The Rock did.
Right.
I mean, the guy's a mega superstar now.
Well, that's true, but I think The Rock has proven over the years his ability to progress as an actor, to get better over the years
Oh, yeah,
with
for
different
sure.
roles, whether
For
it's
sure.
heartfelt roles, whether it's kid roles, whether it's CGI heavy roles like San Andreas. But actually, getting back to Deadpool 2, there was actually some news released yesterday, and Fox has confirmed that director Tim Miller, screenwriters Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, and of course Ryan Reynolds are all going to be returning for the sequel, Deadpool
yeah.
2. So I mean,
Oh yeah, like
it's
the
a winning recipe.
Yeah, the success of this movie. I mean, everyone's coming back. We're gonna keep this thing going. The money train, choo choo. Fox is really doing big things with Deadpool. All right, well, let's recap this. I want to know what your score is on this movie. 1 being complete shit to 10 being really good.
I mean, listen, I don't like to hand out tens. I really don't. But like I said, going back and reviewing the movie, it's just where are the negatives? That it was too short, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. And then when you make it too long, they complain about that. Now,
So you know what? Stamp it.
Yeah.
Give it a 10. I'm the
Give it-
juggernaut.
Oh, you're a 10.
That's
you're
right.
a 10. All right, yeah. All right. So for me, it's the funniest movie I've seen in quite some time. I don't remember being in the theater and just laughing so much, especially with a big crowd of people. You're all in on it. My score on this movie, I mean, I'd have to give it a 9.5 because for me to give it like a solid 10, you really have to. I mean, I have to feel all emotions: cry, laugh, feel sad, pain, regret. I start thinking about like emotional ties, whatever. But this movie, I had fun. I had a blast watching it, so I'll have to give it a 9.5 for now. But rewatchability is, you can pop this thing anytime, watch it on TV, watch it when it's eventually available. I mean, nothing to complain about.
I agree, and like you said, it's a love story, right?
It is.
Hey,
it is.
rock on.
Rock on. Well, guys, that's going to do it for episode 2 of the podcast. Hope you enjoyed. I'd like to thank my co-host, Mike Lord.
Thank you, brother.
All right, and tune in next week for our Civil War podcast coming soon.
Yes, sir.